How's it going, guys? I know it's been a while, but working, studying, life in general, it's all just kind of kept me away from videos for the last month or two. Since my last video, a lot has happened. Chelsea have gone on to reach the semi-final of the Champions League, reach the final of the FA Cup. There's a big battle going on for a top four spot in the Premier League, and I just haven't had time to make videos on them. But this, I had to make time for it. The proposition of the European Super League, something that's always been talked about for the last few years anyway. Nobody ever thought would actually happen. And now clubs have released statements saying they're going for it. And I am shocked, I'm pissed, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. The European Super League, since being announced yesterday, has pretty much divided the internet. There are people that think, oh, you've got Chelsea and Man City and Real Madrid and Juventus all playing in a league. What's not good about that? And I'll tell you what's not good about that. It's competition, which is basically what football is, what football stands for. And this European Super League just gets rid of it because you can't get relegated from it. There's no prizes for winning. There's no qualifying for the Champions League for doing well, no repercussions for doing bad. It's just, what is it if not a glorified Nations League? I mean, I can't help but see anything other than the European Super League ending up being glorified friendlies, because with nothing to play for, where's the spirit in the games? For a while now, I felt like the soul has gone out of football. You look at the big games, the big rivalries, they just don't feel like what they felt like even 10 years ago. And this just goes on to prove the point. All that's cared about by the 12 owners of these 12 clubs is money, is lining their pockets. They don't care about the fans, about footballing tradition. They don't give a crap about any of that. And I do feel like this needs to be fought against by any means necessary. I've already said Chelsea are in the Champions League semi-final, the final of the FA Cup. They're in a great position to qualify for the Champions League via a top four spot in the Premier League. And I would happily let Leicester take that FA Cup. Let PSG take the Champions League. Have 25 points deducted from us, as well as the 5 other teams in the Premier League. If that's what it took to get us to learn and to abandon this European Super League, I'd accept it, because I would much rather see Chelsea be stripped of everything this season if it means keeping the club what it is for the seasons going forward. FIFA and UEFA have already come forward and announced that participation in this European Super League could result in getting kicked out of your domestic league, being banned from Champions League, and even for the players being banned from playing for their country at international level, at World Cups and whatnot. And while I don't care at all about FIFA or UEFA, they're as corrupt as they come. If that's what needs to be done, that's what needs to be done. And I feel bad for the players. They're coming home from training one evening and all of a sudden they're finding out about all this, because obviously they have nothing to do with it. And now all of a sudden they're being made choose between their club and potentially their country. I don't think that's fair on them, but it does at least give power to the players, because they can then take the fight to the club owners and say, look, this is how this is affecting us. You can't go through with it. So, I mean, it might end up being a necessary evil. If you ask almost anyone, take your club aside, what is your favourite story from the Premier League in recent years? And the answer is Leicester City coming up from the Championship and within 2 years winning the Premier League, qualifying for Champions League football, going on to get to the round of 16 in that. It's historic for Leicester fans. And even looking at this season, Leicester again and West Ham as well, both in as good a position as any to qualify for Champions League football. And all of that will just mean nothing if this European Super League comes into effect. It's an absolute joke. While on the topic of how the likes of Leicester and West Ham wouldn't be invited to take part, let's have a look at the 12 teams that seem to think they have a God-given right to just constantly play in a league filled with the best teams in Europe. You've got Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Liverpool. No one's denying them. On top of that, there's Man United and Inter Milan. Not been at their best for a few years, but definitely still worthy of inclusion. Then we've got Milan and Arsenal. They haven't been top sides for 10 years now. So you think, okay, it's based on pedigree. But if it's based on pedigree, how are we including Manchester City, who have only been a top side for the last 10 years? Then we've got Juventus, who are undoubtedly a top side now with a lot of history. But part of that history was how only a decade ago they were relegated from Serie A because of their involvement in corruption and match fixing. So how the hell are we including them? And then on top of that, there's Tottenham Hotspur, who I'm pretty sure were just included to be the laughing stock of the league. Looking at some of the results this season, I mean, just yesterday, Arsenal just about scraped a 97th minute equaliser against the pretty much already relegated Fulham. A couple of weeks before that, and Chelsea gets schooled 5-2 by West Brom, who are also pretty much already relegated. And Real Madrid just got a 0-0 draw against Getafe. Barcelona have been smacked around on numerous occasions this season. Manchester City had one of the worst starts to the Premier League in the last 10 years. You know, they also got beaten, 5-2 by Leicester earlier on. So what makes these teams think that they are allowed to just break away from this competition and form their own league, you know, take the ball, play by themselves? What gives them the idea that they are above all these teams? The fact that they can be beaten by these teams is what makes football beautiful, and they're just spitting on that. Anyway, lads, what I'm really hoping is that this is just some kind of power play. You know, the owners of these clubs just want something from FIFA or UEFA or someone, and this is their way about, you know, going about making sure that they get it. I don't approve of it. I think that it's an absolute disrespect to fans and club history and culture of football in countries like England and Spain and Italy. And I'm just so disappointed in Chelsea, the fact that they're one of the teams to take part. You look at the likes of Bayern Munich and Dortmund in Germany, there was never a single doubt in my mind that German teams would neglect to take part in this, because German football is all about the fans. The idea of a European Super League with no competition, where you can't be relegated, where you can't, you know, suffer for doing bad or really benefit from doing well. The German football would never, ever go for that. The fact that PSG have come out and said that they won't be going for it, you know, one of the most, you know, richest, money-hungry clubs in football, the fact that they're not going for it should really be teaching a lesson to these 12 teams and the 3 teams that haven't been announced yet that are apparently going to be taking part as well. But that's it for the video. Kind of a rant, very unstructured, just me going off the top of my head. I hope that I provided a bit of insight to the whole situation. Maybe you didn't know exactly what was going on. Hopefully I'll be able to start making videos a bit more regularly from here. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next video.